All right, guys. So like the title of the video says, guys, how to make content if you work 9 to 5 jobs, right? Especially if you work multiple 9 to 5 jobs. You know what I'm saying? Because I tell a lot of people, bro, you know, especially young people, you guys should be well-rounded in every aspect of your life, right? No matter what it is, your finances, your health, your physical, your mental, your spiritual, your characteristics, life skills and experiences, how you are as a person. You should be well-rounded in every category possible. So in order to do that, you got to work multiple 9 to 5 jobs, right? Because 9 to 5 jobs is a good way to make income to support your business or whatever that you want to do. But also it's good. It's a good thing to, you know, experience the real world and also stack up your life skills and experiences, right? So a lot of people, we're in the same category like me, right? We're all trying to work multiple 9 to 5 jobs and we're trying to find something better. But in the meantime, we need to support ourselves. So this is where 9 to 5 comes in, right? But if you're trying to be something like a content creator, right? Like me, how can you make content if you work multiple 9 to 5 jobs? So I'm going to tell you guys real quick, all right? I'm going to write it down on this nice, beautiful whiteboard that I got, all right? So I got my notes on the side real quick. Let me go pull up my notes real quick. So the first thing that you guys want to do is, number one, right? You guys want to make educational content, all right? Based off your jobs. All right, that's the first type of content, the first niche that you guys got to get into, or like a video idea, or the type of styles that you guys are supposed to do. You guys can make educational content based off of 9 to 5 jobs, because a lot of people, right? I feel like nowadays we're in the information era where there's so many people who are looking up and watching videos, not just because it's funny or entertaining, but because they want to learn and they're trying to improve their lifestyle, right? So a lot of people, they look up videos like how to get in shape, how to build a six-pack, how to be a better fighter, how to be a better swimmer, how to make money online, how to start a business, how to do this and do that. And so maybe if you guys are watching this video, right, you guys are watching the exact same type of content that I'm telling you guys to make, right? Educational content. So with your 9 to 5 jobs. All right. And, you know, a lot of people, they always look down on younger people because, you know, people like Jack Doherty and Neon and people like that, right? They're out here with a lot of money, but the only ways they know how to captivate and capture an audience is by acting like a clown, right? They have nothing educational or valuable to give off to people, because I'm not saying they didn't work 9 to 5 jobs, right? I'm not saying that's the only thing that teach you about life and whatever and like give you life skills and experiences, but they don't have anything interesting, valuable to give to people because they haven't experienced, I guess, the real world. They got rich they got rich and famous too early in their life, right? So the only things that they know how to entertain people and provide content is by acting like a clown, right? Or doing OnlyFans, or, you know, going out in public and acting stupid. So you guys got to go ahead. You guys have an advantage to make content, because when you work multiple 9 to 5 jobs, not only are you stacking up your money, but you're stacking up your life skills, your skill sets, your life lessons, your life experiences. And this is providing you with more education, right? More education means more value to your content. And when you give people value, they're going to watch your videos and they're going to watch it. So for example, when I was working, right, I'm only 22, but I just turned 22 the other year, but pretty much a couple months ago, but pretty much, guys, right, I was working since I was 16 years old, right? I was working, I was training, I was doing combat sports, running, football, swimming. I was doing all kinds of stuff, and I was doing any kind of stuff, right? But I was working a lot of multiple 9 to 5 jobs, and that's the best way I feel like I was to learn a lot of things. Bro, I keep spitting everywhere. But that was the best way I was learning a bunch of things, by getting out into the real world and working multiple 9 to 5 jobs. First job that I worked at was a landscaping job, right? I was cutting grass. I worked there from 2019 to 2021. In Taco Bell, I worked at Taco Bell from 2020 to 2022. And in 2022, I was working high school jobs, enterprise, Taco Bell. And I was working at warehouse jobs, restaurant jobs. I was doing all kinds of different jobs, right? So the point I'm trying to make is, I learned a bunch of different things. And what I would have done was, I would have made a bunch of if I started YouTube back then, right, 5 years ago, I would have started an educational channel where I document what I do, what I learned, different skill sets. So for example, if I was working at landscaping, right, I'll be teaching you guys how to drive forklifts, how to drive the golf carts, how to drive the vans, how to cut grass, how to lawn mow, how to, you know, leaf blow with the leaf handheld blower or the backpack leaf blower, how to do this, how to do that, how to paint roads and curbs, how to go ahead and trim bushes and trees, how to clean water fountains and fish ponds, how to open up the gates and unlock the shed and do, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would have done a bunch of educational content. When I was working at Taco Bell, I would have showed you guys how to make tacos and burritos. I would have showed you guys how to work the fryer, how to take orders at the drive-thru, and just show myself recording myself and trying to take orders, and how to collect cash and work fast and efficient, and how to do delivery. At my high school job, I would have showed you guys how to cook food, how to deliver, how to drive the box truck. Warehouse jobs, I would have showed you guys how to drive the forklifts and drive this and that. So what all the things that you're doing, if you're working multiple jobs, you have a bunch of skills and experiences that you can help educate people on, and you can teach people with your 9-to-5 jobs and provide valuable content, right? It doesn't have to be necessarily skill sets. It could be, right? A lot of people, they're like, oh, how do you drive a forklift? How do you do this? But you can teach them how your job, your company works, how you get paid, how to do this, how to interact with other people, life lessons that you learn, like how to communicate better at Taco Bell. You know what I'm saying? Like the system, how it works, and blah, blah, blah. You can educate people off of your jobs, all right? So that's the first thing. Number 2 that you guys can do, you guys can document. Let me show you guys. You guys can document your everyday life. What the hell did I just spell? But you guys can document your everyday life. You guys can do short form content or long form content. And I recommend, if you guys are doing whatever content that you guys are making, anything that you post, you guys got to put short form content and long form content. You guys got to utilize both of these strategies, bro. Both of these things, especially short form content, because I feel like that's the most, that's the most popular thing right now. Everything is clipping, everything is short form content. But that's where the algorithm is pushing most of the organic growth, I feel like, because they're competing with TikTok and other platforms, Facebook, is it called Facebook Reels? Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, whatever that you call it. YouTube Shorts is competing with a bunch of different companies, you know what I'm saying? So short form content, but also long form content is where the big boy money comes in with YouTube, all right? 8 minutes or more, you get paid, all right? You get paid better. You can put more ads on your videos and blah, blah, blah. So the trick is, when you're busy, right? Like me back then, I was working 2-3 jobs every time, with training, traveling, hanging with my girl. I was busy, bro, but I was trying to do YouTube. And what I would have done differently back in the day was I would have just recorded every single day of my life. I'll document my day every single day, short form wise and long form wise. I would have made vlogs every single day. I tried to, right? I have several vlogs up there, and I'm editing videos right now. I'm going to post vlogs from before. And I did a little bit of that, but short form wise, I didn't really make that much because I don't think I wasn't like involved a lot with TikTok or YouTube Shorts. I didn't know what that was. I was barely on Instagram too. And so I feel like I should have adapted early, but this is good right now, guys. All right. So I'm telling you guys right now, short form and long form is the best content to post, right? On all social media platforms. But what I would have done was, if I was working at landscaping, I would have recorded my day. I would have documented my day, short form wise. I would have been putting different camera angles. I would have made ASMR content, day in the life videos, no talking, no commentary, just me doing my work, changing angles. And then I'll do another series where I'll be commentating over what I did a day in my life, right? And I would have been making vlog series. I would have been making a bunch of content, long form content, educational content. And I just would have record every single day of my life, working at landscaping, right? What I did when I clocked in, what I ate for lunch, educational things, like what I did when I talked to my boss. How did I plant grass today at my landscaping job? And then I'll show you guys what I did after when I worked at Taco Bell. Right, I've been cooking, taking orders, showing you guys what I'm eating on my break, educational stuff, motivational stuff, showing you guys what I do with my boys after work and what we do, we cruise and all that kind of stuff. So I would have just been documenting my everyday life. If you guys are busy, document it. You know what I'm saying? If you go into the gym right after you're training, you're doing combat sport, record what you're doing, document. And the trick is, when you document your everyday life, there has to be some sort of goal, I guess, that you're trying to hit, especially with short form content. So one of the pages that I follow, right? I follow this car guy. His name is Michael Hickey on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And I followed him for since 2024. And I was really, I guess, inspired by his content because I was like, oh, bro, this is interesting. But what he does is he lives in his car and he travels the states with his car. He drives with his car. But at the same time, he's making money by DoorDashing and also by doing social media and posting content. And in a lot of his series, right, he has series, like day one. He's traveling to Arizona or whatever, I forget, or Alaska or whatever. And he's trying to save up to $60,000 so that he could build a tiny house. So what he does in his videos is that he has a series, right? He starts on day one. He's documenting his everyday life. He has a goal and objective that he's trying to achieve. So people want to see him hit that goal and hit his objective, right? His goal is to hit 60K by doing whatever that he's doing, posting content, door dashing, Uber Eats, whatever that he's doing, side hustles, and then he wants to get a tiny house. All right, so I'm watching his videos right now. He hit the 60K like a couple months ago, like end of last year or whatever. And right now he has another series where he's documenting his, I guess, day in the life of him building his tiny house. So his goal is to make a tiny house, the next goal, right? So you see how people are going to be intrigued and like just kind of like, they'll be binge watching the series because it's, you know, the longevity is pretty long. It's a series and there's a goal that people are trying to watch him get to, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So the whole point I'm trying to make is if you're working multiple jobs, you guys can make a series where I'm working multiple jobs to save up my first 60K so that I could buy a new car, move on my house, or give my mom a new car. And, you know what I'm saying, while I'm training, trying to be a better boxer and trying to balance life. And you guys can just make a series out of it and just document your everyday life, all right? So that's what I would recommend for you guys to do if you guys are making content like that. Number 3, all right, what you guys can do is you guys can do POV videos. All right, you guys are like, what the fuck is POV videos? I see people right on TikTok and Instagram, they put, I guess, I don't know how to record the content, but I guess they put like glasses on or like a GoPro. I really don't know. I think maybe like recording glasses. And what they do is they just record themselves POV action, like they're playing Call of Duty, working, driving, door dashing, you know, reselling. Like they go down to like thrift stores and they're reselling and they're recording it. And they post that content and it goes viral, especially on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? TikTok pays good now. And you can post on Instagram and YouTube Shorts and it will go viral. And you can repurpose your content on every platform, right? So do POV videos, get creative with it, and do whatever that you guys got to do, all right? Another thing that you guys can do is you guys can do IRL streams on whatever platform that you guys want to do. I see people on TikTok, they're live streaming them working in the warehouse. When I'm on YouTube, people are live streaming themselves working. When I'm on Instagram, people are, you know, live showing, you know, whatever that is. If you're on Kick, Rumble, YouTube, whatever that it is, Twitch, you guys can utilize IRL streams, all right? Because streaming is a big thing nowadays. Not only do you utilize short form and long form content, but utilize IRL streams, right? And streaming just in general. Because a lot of things, that's the big things nowadays, IRL and short form content. That's what I studied, right? So whatever that you guys are doing, if you guys are bored at work, right? You got maybe the jobs that you work, you guys are working security and all you do all night is just sit there. Make content off of what you do, right? Be productive while you're working your job. A lot of people, they're just doing bare minimum. They show up to the job, they're not working hard, you know, they're just sitting there being lazy. Why don't you just work your regular job, do the job, and do stuff like this? Make content off of your everyday life. So that not only are you making money with your everyday 9-to-5 jobs, but you potentially can make money off of creating content, off of your everyday life, right? So, you know, I feel like that's the best method that you guys got to do. Just document, create educational videos, create motivational videos, and create relatable content, I feel like, with everybody. I feel like people, they like watching other people's lives, I guess, to relate and to, I guess, get inspired, I don't know, or comfort them. Because I noticed too, like when maybe I'm sick or maybe I'm just like, you know, I'm like not in the mood, but maybe I need some sort of like, you know, creative ideas. I watch other people's lives and I kind of get, oh shit, that's cool. You know, I want to kind of take that into my life and try and utilize that and try and, you know, use that in my everyday lives to make me a better version of myself. So people, I guess, they watch other people for, you know, education, entertainment, their everyday life, to see where the goal hits, you know, whatever that it is, guys. But these are some things that you guys can do, and I don't know necessarily if how long this would last, like if you were to post this type of content, but the goal is to start off, you can post this type of content, and then when you make enough money and you have a fan base, I guess, you guys can switch the content into something different. So I'm not saying necessarily completely 360 your content, you know, but you are the personal brand. So the last thing I'm gonna say is number 5, right? I'm gonna write it down, but number 5 is build a personal brand. So while you're working your 9-to-5 jobs, you can use that jobs, record your content, but at the same time, you're building your personal brand, all right? People is going to watch you for who you are, no matter what kind of content that you post. For example, people like ISO Speed, he can do IRL streams, he can play video games, he can go play basketball, he can do driving streams, but people are always going to watch Speed because they like Speed. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna watch Speed because, oh, he plays Fortnite, and if he changes his whatever that he does, his niche, they're not gonna watch him anymore. They watch Speed because of Speed. They watch Kai Cenat because of Kai Cenat. Whatever that they do, they're still gonna always watch him. Yeah, maybe some things might not get as much views, but the overall thing is they're watching the guy for who they are, and that's what a personal brand is, right? Like I saw one stream with Will Smith and XQC, and Will Smith was explaining how, you know, people, there's a difference with movie stars and actors. And then XQC was like, what does that mean? And Will Smith was like, people watch Will Smith movies because it's Will Smith in it. They don't watch it for the story. They don't watch it because it's a comic book movie or superhero movie. They watch it because Will Smith is in the movie. An actor is somebody who's just, oh yeah, they're watching them because they're watching it for, oh, it's because it's, you know, it's just, you know, just another movie. It's the Until Dawn movie, or oh, it's the new Blade movie. I don't know, right? You know, you get what I mean, right? Actors or movie stars, they watch you because they want to watch you. They don't give a fuck about the movie. Like with the Sinners movie with Michael B. Jordan, like I saw that trailer like long time ago. They was promoting it in like 2024, and people didn't even know what the fuck that was. I didn't see anything. Like they even made a Fortnite map based on it. I remember I saw the promo of it. And people were like, what is it? Like, nobody give a fuck about the movie. Like, there was no like, people wasn't posting about it. But then when the movie came out, I guess it was a buzz because it was Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld. And people were watching it, not because it was vampires, and no one gave a fuck about that. They watched it because of the actors. You know what I'm saying? Because they build up their personal brand. And people watch them for who they are. So, if you're able to pull this off and build your personal brand, and build your, I guess, you know, with all of this, you build your credibility, your value, you're entertaining with people. People are gonna watch you for who you are, no matter what type of content that you make, right? So think about it, guys. I remember back in the day, I used to watch this guy named Syndicate Project. I don't know if you guys remember him, OG YouTuber back in the day. He started like, I saw like 2010, or maybe like it was around like PewDiePie times. You know, PewDiePie him. You know, when gaming was popular on YouTube, Syndicate was one of the guys. He was posting content about Call of Duty Zombies back in the day when Call of Zombies was popular. And then after that, when Minecraft came out, he was a Minecraft YouTuber. And everybody was watching him because, you know, they was watching his gaming content. But he built himself up to the point where he still had a fan base. He doesn't do gaming anymore, but he does like daily vlogs ever since like 2015. And people was still watching his content because no matter what he did, even if he changed his style of content, but he built himself up to where he was the head of his brand. He was the personal brand. So no matter what he did, if he changed up his style of content, people is always going to watch him, right? So that's where you guys got to get to the point where you build yourself up to where people are going to watch you no matter what type of content you watch, right? And not only that, but I was also watching some other things. Like, I want to go back to the POV videos, but some other POV videos, like back then, like 2 years ago, I remember I was on TikTok, and people were, there's like this guy, he's recording himself making tacos and burritos at Taco Bell, and he was showing people how to make tacos and burritos, and that shit went viral, bro. That guy looked like Peter Parker, bro, like Tom Holland. And I forget his channel name, but I don't know what he does now on YouTube. But there's this other guy too that I watched last year, and he was posting working at an ice cream shop, and he has a lot of views on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and all he does is record himself POV style making ice cream, and he talks about other stuff like, oh, what he does, the time that he cried at the job. Bro, I'm sweating, bro. This and that. But you know, you can do so much even if you're working a 9-to-5 job, guys. So don't use that as an excuse to not make content. Okay, maybe it's not the type of content that you want to make, but you guys gotta find a way to be creative so that you can manage both at the same time. Work jobs, train, go to church, take care of your health, but also at the same time you're pursuing if you're trying to be a content creator. So these are some ideas and ways that you guys can do this while working multiple jobs and being occupied, paying bills, and trying to level up. So, you know, it's gonna take a lot of work. It's not gonna be easy. It's gonna take effort. You know, you're probably gonna be spending more time recording at your job, and you're sweating, and fucking you're coming home and editing quickly in your car and on your phone. But it's just how it's gotta be, bro. If you want to level up in life, you gotta push yourself, and you gotta get uncomfortable, right? You gotta do extra work. You gotta spend more time, you know, spend more hours working and grinding, whatever that you gotta do, and, you know, suffer for a bit. So anyways, guys, I see you guys later. All right, let's go.